couple of days, I think 2 days ago, I started vlogging towards the end of the day, and I feel like it didn't really make all that much sense without some sort of like speaking to go along with it. So I thought I would sit down and kind of describe the day that I had on, I think this was Friday. I could be wrong. I'm like totally lost on what day it is, despite the fact that I'm like in school and doing things, and I'm not like jet lagged or anything, but I just have not been paying attention to the days that much. So I believe this was Friday. I'm not sure if I'm going to put this like in the beginning of the video or at the end, or maybe I'll do it in the middle, like interspersed between all the video clips. But essentially I started vlogging a little bit just towards the end of the day, probably like after 4 o'clock or so. So it's definitely Friday because that morning we did 2 things as a group with the class. We first went to the medical center, the Waikiki Medical Center, I hope I'm not butchering that name, where we talked to the registered dietitian who deals with like all aspects of food service in the medical center hospital area. So we talked to her, she gave us some history on the hospital itself. We were essentially there to learn about things that are done differently due to all the patients of different cultures that come to this hospital, because it's not like you're just, in terms of food service, you're not just catering to one group of people, you're catering to Native Hawaiians, Japanese, Chinese, like Filipino, all of that. So anyone who's in like more long-term care who will be eating meals regularly at the hospital, they're not all necessarily going to want the same thing. So we sat down, got to talk to her. We spoke to 2 other dietitians that work for the hospital, and then she actually like prepared a bunch of food for us to try. So I'll insert a picture of that if I could find it. A lot of the stuff that she brought out contained meat, but my professor called her ahead of time and let her know that there is a vegetarian in the group. So there was a couple things that she either like left the sauce on the side so I could like grab part of the salad before they added like a beef broth thing to it, or she like left out fish of something and just did tofu. So that was like really awesome, and I'm really grateful for that. So I didn't get to try as much as everyone else, but I did still get to try a handful of foods, which was like really interesting to do. And then after that, still in the hospital, we went over to like the long-term like geriatric care facility and got to speak to some of the elderly people there. And I think this was just more of like a community service type of thing. It wasn't necessarily like nutrition related, but we sat down with them, colored with them. I sat with these 2 ladies who were very sweet. As you can assume, it was a little like awkward and uncomfortable, at least for me, just because I am awkward and uncomfortable, but you know, still a good experience overall. I feel like I should tell you about them. So these 2 ladies that sat down, the one was clearly a little bit older. She was very quiet. She was kind of just like smiling and like looking at me and looking around the room. The other lady, like we started talking immediately. She was really nice. We both had questions for each other, and then she kept just saying like, okay, like stop talking to me, talk to her. And I was like, I'm trying to talk to both of you, like I'm trying to engage with both of you at the same time. I can't help it if the other lady like doesn't want to talk to me. So I like kept forcing a conversation with this other woman, and she was like, okay, now talk to her. And she would just like look away. So then I was like really trying to engage with this other woman. She finally started talking, and she was talking a lot. She first kept saying she was really excited to be turning 100 in December. And she's like, yeah, my birthday is like coming up in December, blah, blah, blah. And then the other lady would look at me and was like, no, she's not. She's only 95. Which I thought was absolutely adorable. But obviously I was going along with it. And then the same woman who was quiet at first that thought she was turning 100, I think I heard the same story about her son at least 20 times, maybe like 25. Obviously I was just going along with it, like nodding and smiling and like trying to talk to her. And then this other woman was like, see, like this is what happens when you get older, like you start to forget things, like your mind starts to go. She has dementia, she forgets a lot, like this is what happens. I was like, okay, yeah, that's fine, like I understand, like no worries. So then this other woman would keep going on about her son, and then the other woman who earlier I thought like we were having conversation, like she seemed mostly there, I guess for lack of a better term, and then she would just repeat the same story about how like old and forgetful this other woman was. They just kept going back and forth, repeating the same things. I'm like, I don't know, I feel like I'm laughing out of awkwardness and cuteness, but also it's pretty sad. So yeah, we did that for about half an hour. They were very nice. And then after the hospital trip, we went over to the Bishop Museum, which we didn't get to see the entire thing, but the main room that we spent a lot of time in was just talking about ancient Hawaii and like Hawaiian civilization, and just talking about like what things were like before the Americans came in and invaded the space. So that was really interesting. And then we went to they had like a volcano room. You could like walk inside of the volcano, and at the very bottom they did a lava demonstration, which was like obviously very catered to children, but it was pretty cool. They actually like heated up lava rocks and she like did stuff with lava. I have a video of that. I'll try and put it in. That's like the only thing that I filmed the first half of Friday. So that was fun. She also spent the last half talking about the volcanic eruptions that happened last year. So it was really interesting to learn about and like see the aerial footage that you didn't necessarily see like on the news and stuff. But yeah, so after that was all we had to do as a class that day. So we got back to the condos. A lot of girls went to the beach because the sun was still up and it was the first time, like first opportunity we all had to go to the beach. I wasn't really feeling it then because I knew the sun would be setting soon. So I actually decided to head out on my own. I decided I really needed like a beach like bathing suit cover up type of thing. I didn't need it, but I just wanted it. I felt like I'd be more comfortable instead of just like every time I go to the beach like changing out of just regular shorts and a t-shirt. So I walked down to the Forever 21, which was like maybe a half a mile away. And I know like I'm on Hawaii, I'm surrounded by a bunch of other stores and local things. So of all the places, Forever 21, I chose it because I had a gift card. I had a gift card for Christmas, so I figured that'd be the best option to save my money for other things. So I walked down there. So Forever 21 was huge. I was probably in there for like an hour just looking at stuff. And then I pretty much just made my way back up the road. So there's some footage of that. I was really hoping by the time I was walking, it was darker, so they'd light all, there's like tiki torches like lining the streets. Those hadn't been lit yet, but I intended on like capturing the sunset for you guys, but I got out of the Forever 21 too late, and then I tried to do it again last night because I finally had time to sit on the beach, and I went to go take a time lapse, and apparently my camera was pointing like up at the clouds and not at the sun the entire time. I still have plenty of opportunity to get a sunset picture or video, so I will insert that into a video at some point. But yeah, it was really pretty just to like walk around. The street that I was on is just like this big kind of like fashion district area, so you have like your Prada and your Louis Vuitton and Gucci, I don't know, like all those fancy ass stores that I'm not gonna go into. So the cheapest things there was like a Forever 21 and Urban Outfitters. That walk back, I decided to go into the ABC store, which there is literally like an ABC store, like 2 on every block. They are everywhere. They're just like kind of a convenience general store. They have a lot of gifts and things to take home, or like convenience food, snacks, water, soda. They also have alcohol. So I really needed a notebook for one of my classes, and I found this like little book that says Aloha. It was the best that I could find, and me and my roommate had decided that we wanted wine that night, so I went over to the liquor store part of the ABC store and found us some wine. This flip-flop one was actually for her. I tend to buy my wines by what the bottle looks like because I'm an amateur, so I picked up a bottle of Merlot for myself that looked interesting. It actually turned out to be really tasty, but I took everything back that I purchased to our condo, took a shower, got everything ready to make myself some dinner. I think a lot of girls went out this night, but I decided to stay in because I had bought a bag of like frozen veggies and then like the Gardein teriyaki vegan chicken strips. So I just like sauteed that up for myself, poured some wine, and that was pretty much it. I spent the rest of the night working on some assignments and editing my first vlog, which I just posted. I can't even say the other day because I don't know when this will be posted. Basically, I just decided to film the last part of the day on Friday. It was my first time like adventuring out by myself, even though I didn't go that far or do that much. And then yesterday, I filmed a lot too, so there'll be a separate vlog for Saturday. We went on like an island tour and drove like up around the coast of Oahu and then cut back to the condo, so that was a lot of fun. I will be posting that very soon, but I think that's all for now. It's Sunday today, so I may have forgotten stuff, but yeah, I have a free day today, so I'm probably not gonna film. Besides this, I'm gonna go sit on the beach, try and drink out of a coconut. I really want to drink out of a coconut.